And next, James.
My name is James Moffat, and I'm proud to be Jim's grandson. Since I was a small child, Jim made a huge impact in my life. As a child, I remember that my grandfather was always there, with a smile or a joke. As I got older, he'd always take me fishing or spend time with me at home. We were growing up, and I'd always get seasick on every trip. On a second boat, he had a little cubby hole that I would curl up in, and I'd use it like Jack as a pillow. He always gave a chuckle and continued on. I also remember the first time he let me try the boat and how special I felt. At first, I never really knew the great things he had done. I just remember how he knew so whenever we went. I remember as a child, when I first realized what he had done in his life and how in awe I was. One thing about Grandpa was how humble man he was. He never looked down on anyone. I remember him having a cross words toward a single soul. The story of his past life always intrigued me, and I loved to hear them. He used to talk about time he spent in Yukon for when he was a local auxiliary RCMP member. Even though he always was busy working or meeting with someone, he always made time for me and the family. I remember we used to play pool together and how we'd always win. I remember the first time that I ever meet him and how excited I was. We were playing darts in his basement and how he pretended to get mad every when we hit the wall. One of the best memories is how Grandpa would always joke around with everyone he met. He had a certain way with people that he would always get his point across and make the other person laugh. I also admired the devotion he had to my grandmother Nick. He'd always be there holding her hand, with a smile whenever they were together. I remember when I was a child, Grandpa would always joke around about stealing my ice cream after dinner or lunch. I'd always call Grandma, and she'd always put it back in line. He was also very quick-witted, and we would always tell jokes to each other. At the end of every exchange of jokes, he'd always say to me, "You're out of the well again." As I grew older, I started to lose my way. I drifted away from my family and from the values that my grandfather taught me. As I entered high school, I got caught up in the crowd, started getting involved with drugs. I started in trouble with the law, and started getting kicked out of different schools. Even when I was going through this, my grandfather was always there for me. I remember going to visit him, and he would talk to me openly and honestly about what was going on. He never talked down to me or told me what I should do. He was just there for me when I needed him. I remember when I got a little older, I got into a lot of trouble, and my grandparents took me in. Even though he had done his job and raised his kids, he happily took me in. While I lived with him, he would always be there trying to guide me and show me how a man should act by the way he did. Even though it took me a while to learn these lessons, I will never forget them. When I finally got my act together and managed to get my life back on track, my grandfather was there as one of my biggest supporters. He taught me through hard work and determination, anything is possible. As my life progressed, I graduated high school, my grandfather was there. The watch that I wear today is a gift from my grandparents, and every time I check the time, I think of them. As the years progressed, Grandpa never thought he did. He was always young at heart and always a joker. Even when he was sick in the hospital, we'd always joke around with the nurses or with us. He always had a smile on his face and always had a joke to tell. As he progressed in his illness, he never lost that part of him. At times, we would not always know where he was or why he was in the hospital. We'd always make the best of it. He always worried about others and wanted those around him to be happy. When the end was near, and I was still sitting in a friend's place, the grandmother called the family to the hospital. She said that Grandpa was not doing well, and he stopped breathing once in the morning. I dropped what I was doing and I rushed to the hospital. Grandpa was having a hard time breathing, was not responding very well. It was so hard to see him like this. When the family made his way up, we took turns sitting with him and holding his hands. He could not talk, but he moved his eyebrows as we spoke to him. After a few hours, everyone left for lunch. I went to take my friend's dog for a walk, and somebody told me to make it to the hospital. We were rushing up there, and knowing my grandfather would be gone soon. I'm in the hospital room, and my grandmother was by his side, lodging with a family friend. I went beside my grandfather and took his hand, but then I took my grandmother's. She was sitting there talking to him. I didn't know that she was there, but that she would be okay. He didn't need to fight anymore. After it seemed like an eternity, he took his last breath. With my grandmother and me holding him, he was finally at peace, his suffering ended. Most people think that this is a very hard thing to go through. I think it was this amazing gift. I thank God that I could share this moment. I would like to leave you with one of the most profound moments that I shared with my grandfather. After his first heart attack, we sat down together at his house. And we were talking to him and thanking him for everything that he had done. And we were sharing the memories and stories from the past. I had a chance to tell him all the things that people wish they say after he was gone. At the end of this conversation, he said to me, "James, don't be sad. Don't cry when I'm gone. I've accomplished everything that I had ever wanted to do. I had shared many great years with your grandmother, and I'd made a difference. Well, Grandpa, I tried. I can't help but be sad. I can't help but cry. I can only hope and be a small part of the man you were, that you are. Thank you to everyone that's come today and shared this with our family. James has made a huge impact on a lot of people, and I hope you remember him and all the great moments that you've shared with me."